The city lights of Seoul blurred through the rain-slicked streets as Taehyung drove aimlessly that night. His knuckles were white as they gripped the steering wheel, his mind consumed by panic and regret. He had searched every corner of the city. Called her phone endlessly, and even driven to the hospital in hopes of finding her, but Wyan was nowhere to be found. The ultrasound image sat in the passenger seat, mocking him with its fragile weight. Each glance at it deepened the pit in his stomach. The realization of what he'd done, how he'd accused her, broken her trust, and driven her away, was a wound that festered with every second. By dawn, he returned to the house empty handed and hollow. For weeks, he tried everything, calling her friends, searching shelters, even hiring a private investigator. But it was as if she had vanished into thin air, taking his unborn child with her. The months that followed were a haze. Taehyung buried himself in work, using it as a shield against the crushing loneliness and guilt. The house felt like a tomb filled with memories he couldn't escape. He stopped going to the places they used to visit, avoiding anything that reminded him of her. And so, 5 years passed. The journey to Busan was quiet that evening, save for the rhythmic clatter of his car. Taehyung stared out of the window, his reflection distorted by the dim light. His once bright eyes were now shadowed, his features sharper and more distant. The cheerful, whipped husband he had once been was long gone, replaced by a cold, calculating businessman. He had become the CEO of his company, earning respect and fear in equal measure. But none of it mattered. His success felt hollow, like a tower built on sand. As the car sped through the countryside, memories of Ryan resurfaced, unbidden and relentless. Her laughter, the way she used to tease him, the softness of her voice when she called his name, it all played in his mind like a cruel joke. And then there was the memory of that night. His chest tightened as he recalled the look in her eyes before she walked out. A mixture of heartbreak and resolve. He had destroyed the very thing he was supposed to protect. Stop it, he muttered to himself, rubbing his temples, but the memories didn't listen. When he arrived in Busan, the sky was painted in black, the salty breeze carrying a faint sense of nostalgia. Taehyung checked into a luxurious hotel near the beach, his usual preference when visiting the city for business. The suit was immaculate, but it felt suffocating. He threw his briefcase onto the couch and loosened his tie, staring out at the ocean through the floor to ceiling windows. Sitting on the bed, the sound of children laughing and playing in the distance reached his ears, tugging at something deep within him. He closed his eyes, trying to block it out, but the sound grew louder. A sudden crash startled him, followed by the unmistakable sound of glass shattering. Taehyung turned sharply to find the source of a noise. One of his large windows in his suit had a baseball sized hole, jagged shards of glass glittering on the floor. He approached cautiously, his eyes narrowing as he looked through the broken window. Outside, a group of children stood frozen, their faces pale. Hey, he called out, his deep voice carrying an authoritative edge. Who did this? The kids exchanged panicked glances before scattering like startled birds. Wait, he shouted, leaning out of the window, but they were already gone. He sighed in frustration, running a hand through his hair. His gaze lingered on the small baseball that had rolled to a stop near the shattered glass. Picking it up, he turned it over in his hands. It was worn and scuffed, clearly well loved. Something about the moment struck him, the innocence of the children's laughter, the carelessness of their play. It reminded him of the life he'd never had the chance to see. His chest ached as he clutched the baseball. A soft knock at the door pulled him from his thoughts. Taehyung opened it to find a boy, no older than 5 or 6, standing there nervously. His dark brown hair fell messily over his forehead, and his big doe eyes stared up at Taehyung with a mix of fear and determination. The boy stammered, his tiny hands clenched at his sides. I didn't mean to break your window. It was an accident. Taehyung blinked, taken aback by a child's boldness. You're the one who threw the ball. The boy nodded, his lips trembling. Please don't be mad. I'll pay for it. I have a piggy bank. Despite himself, Taehyung felt a small smile tug at his lips. It was the first time in years that something had genuinely softened him. He crouched down to the boy's level, his voice gentler. What's your name? The boy replied hesitantly. Well, Hyunjin, Taehyung said, holding out the baseball. I'll forgive you this time, but you need to be more careful, okay? Hyunjin nodded eagerly, his eyes lighting up with relief. Thank you, mister. Taehyung's gaze lingered on the boy as he turned to leave. There was something achingly familiar about him, the way he tilted his head, the slight pout of his lips. Wait, he called. Where are your parents? Hyunjin froze, glancing back over his shoulder. My mom's at work. She'll be mad if she finds out about the window, so please don't tell her. Taehyung tilted his head. What about your dad? The boy's expression faltered. He shuffled his feet. I don't have a dad. Something cold settled in Taehyung's chest. Oh, he said quietly. Before he could ask more, Hyunjin flashed him a small smile. Thank you again, mister. And just like that, the boy was gone, leaving Taehyung standing in the doorway with the baseball still in his hand. As the evening wore on, Taehyung couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the boy than met the eye. His words echoed in Taehyung's mind. I don't have a dad. Taehyung looked down at the baseball, a strange sense of deja vu washing over him. He shook his head, setting the ball on the table. It was probably just his imagination, but deep down something told him that this was only the beginning. The morning sun peeked through the horizon, painting the bustling streets of Busan in soft golden hues. Taehyung adjusted his tie as he stepped out of the hotel, his mind firmly set on the business meeting ahead. It was an important deal, one that could strengthen his company's foothold in the southern region. But no matter how much he tried to focus, the image of Hyunjin kept creeping back into his thoughts. The boy's wide eyes, his innocent smile, and most of all, his words. Taehyung shook his head as he climbed into the car, waiting for him. You're overthinking, he told himself, but the gnawing feeling in his chest refused to fade. The meeting went smoothly, his team delivering a pitch that left the clients thoroughly impressed. Taehyung nodded along to their congratulations, but his mind was elsewhere. As they wrapped up, he stepped outside, the fresh air clearing his head. The office building was situated near a local elementary school. And the sound of children's laughter drifted through the air. Taehyung's gaze wandered across the street, landing on a familiar figure sitting on a bench near the school gates. They sat in a comfortable silence for a while, Hyunjin occasionally pointing out random things, a bird flying past, a funny shaped cloud. Taehyung found himself oddly at ease. The boy's innocence was a balm to his weary soul. But there was something about Hyunjin, something familiar that Taehyung couldn't quite put his finger on. It wasn't just the boy's looks, it was the way he spoke, the way he tilted his head when he was curious. As he was lost in thought, a voice called from behind him. Taehyung froze. The voice was soft yet firm, tinged with a warmth that he hadn't heard in years. Slowly he turned, his heart pounding in his chest. Hyunjin jumped up excitedly. Taehyung's eyes widened as he saw her. It was Vian. Hey guys, this is it for the part 2 of this series. Make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and if you have any other Angust ideas, you can just let me know in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to make them. Also, if you want, you can follow me on Instagram at lustrousffs. And we are super close to 3000 subscribers. So if you can just subscribe, it's of course free of cost. It will help me a lot. Yeah, that's it. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.